Welcome to the Livendrell Chronicles, where we dive into the unscripted adventures of our homebrew Dungeons & Dragons campaign, set in the fantastical world of Livendrell. None of what you hear is scripted. This is pure, raw storytelling as it unfolds at the table. Our journey begins with Jed and his friends, who find themselves washed ashore on a mysterious island after a shadowy force seemed to pull their ship beneath the waves. Jed alone awakens on the beach, greeted by Professor Salazar, a brilliant and eccentric inventor with a crude form of robotics, including a robotic arm. The professor tasks Jed with retrieving a stolen invention taken by goblins to their cave. Within these dark caverns, Jed discovers the invention, a staff that functions as a unique firearm, brand new to the world that they live in. However, alongside this, he finds a mysterious orb. With the orb and the invention now in his possession, he seeks answers in a nearby town. One peculiar thing about this island is its inhabitants. They all bear black markings, patterns of dry or damaged flesh covering their bodies and random arrangements. It appears to be a plague or a virus of some kind. Its origins completely unknown to Jed. But as Jed approaches the nearby town, he encounters a bard named Artie. Artie, now getting off the ground, recovering from a scuffle with a very displeased local. The injured Artie asks Jed for a favor. A strange one. To close the bleeding wound on his cheek. From the dispersing crowd, another figure steps forward to greet the both of them. A tiefling with red skin and white hair, named Daniel Soul. Now please join us as we explore the mysteries of this island, the secrets of its strange inhabitants, and the unfolding adventures of our heroes. This is where our story begins. The Livendrell Chronicles, Aomaki's Isle. Please enjoy.
Oh my, you're one of those magic folks. Well, it's not something I'm used to, but if you wouldn't mind, he leans his face towards you.
Yeah, I'll reach out and I'm weird, not weirded out, but I'm like, okay, this is how this guy wants to do it, and I'll help him in any way I can.
Thank you, sir. I really ought to be more careful with my insults, I suppose. Yes, I guess in the end I was the one that got roasted, wasn't I? Well, friends, where was I? Please, let me buy some drinks for you. It's really the least I can do. I don't have much, but I have enough for a few ales. Is that all right?
Pish posh, it'll be on me, friend. I'll say, Artie, Danny, my boy, let's go get a drink. And then I'll start to walk with them, and then I'll stop, and then I'll look at Artie and go, where's the drink?
No need to be afraid, and thank you so much for your generosity. I frankly owe you one. But yes, right this way. The town is not far.
I'd apologize to him. If I acted sooner, perhaps I could have made sure he didn't gain a wound.
No worries, my friend. It's really a minor thing, and quite frankly, I asked for it. I don't regret it at all, but I guess good people come around when you need them the most, eh? Enough of this, though. Enough apologies. Let's enjoy ourselves. Have a drink, play some music perhaps, and get to know one another. If you're all ready, then everyone heads to a nearby town. This island is very large, by the way, if I haven't made that clear. It is a large island. In the center of it, a huge mountain that, from nearly anywhere on the island, you can see at all times. Artie begins to lead you down the trail, winding, and the people that you saw just a moment ago are long gone, but new people are there now. Multiple races of different creatures, some human, some kenku, some drow, some orcs even, some goblins actually, but not the wild ones that you recognize from the caves, some much more tame, civilized. The one thing they all have in common are these dark marks on their body, these hardened pieces of flesh, like it's some kind of a virus or something like that. But before long, you are in the town. the town of Beltroth, and he guides you to a little tavern and inn called the Stumbling Centaur. As you enter, you walk in, and he guides you to a nearby table and raises his hand for the barkeep.
Yes, what can I get for all of you? God, it's you again.
Yes, it's me. Listen, I don't mean to cause any trouble. I just would like to have some drinks with my friends, if it's all the same.
Oh, friends. Is that what you're calling them these days? Well, freaks find freaks, I do suppose. Gentlemen, what would you like?
An ale for me, my good man.
Right, I got some ale. I can get that going. What about you, sir? What would you like?
Whiskey if you have it. I'll pay extra if you need it.
Oh, let's see. I think we have some on the top shelf. Yeah, I'll be right back with those. Let's see. Oh, yes. Artie, what would you like?
Oh, yes, just a beer for me. Thank you.
Yes, right. Once again. Four gold cases will be sufficient enough. Just let me know if I can do anything else for you, alright?
Oh, damn. I'm surprised he only spit in it once this time.
Before he drinks it, prestidigitation, get the spit out. He says that, and I'm sitting here looking at my ale quizzically, and then I look at his, and you can see the spit in his beer, and I will literally just I will snap my fingers kind of like towards him, and basically the bubbles from spit it like evaporates instantly, almost like it's gone, and the foam kind of rises in the beer a little bit, like it's a proper head.
My word.
Anything for a friend.
May have to keep you around for a little bit. Let's get down to the middle of it. I must ask, more so inquire. But you, tiefling, I believe I've maybe seen you around these parts. We have a few tieflings around here. I can tell you've been here for at least a while, but you... Yes, you're not from here. What are you doing here? What's your tale?
Do you know of a place called Aldervin?
Perhaps in some of my old history classes, I believe we know of the motherland. King Arwith was over there, and we know some trade routes. That's really about it.
I was on a great ship for the longest of times. 3 months, I believe. I don't know. Lost track of time. Very, very long time. Crash landed. And on my travels, I've lost and gained allies and can't seem to find some of them. But here I am. And that is where I'm from. To a new world, to find better opportunity. That's who I am.
Quite a marvelous tale, I do say. You a musician? Have you written any songs about it?
I have one in the working, but it's more melancholy than I'd like. I have been searching for a song, but I think I need to write it myself.
What exactly is it you seek? I mean, art is, to each artist, an original. One cannot bleed into the other, but maybe a nudge in the right direction.
I am searching for a song that might heal something in particular.
A healing song. I guess many a song can be healing, but finding the right one, that is a true adventure, my friend. I say, many of my songs I've written myself, and dare I say they are written from my own experience, both the good, bad, and ugly. And, well, diamonds in the rough, my friend. You know, the diamond must be made with pressure, and from that comes not only beauty but value. I pray that through the pressure that you've been under, and needless to say, some that may come, I hope that you find your diamond. But you, my tiefling friend, we know nothing about you. Please, introduce yourself a bit more. I understand your name. How long have you been here for? What brought you?
only been here. Lost track of time with how this place works, but around 3 months. I came here searching for answers because I am a detective of sorts. But I seem to have found a bigger case here that needs answering.
I can understand that. Needless to say, these lands are not well these days. If you've lived here for any amount of time, you would know that. But you, sir, you stick out like a sore thumb, quite frankly. And not just because of your kindness. Your skin is a dead giveaway. You got lucky that you stumbled upon this town first, but there's much that you have yet to learn. You came from the forest. What were you in search of that brought you in this direction?
I was sent by the professor. He insisted I get off the island after I'd trekked all this way to be on the island or the mainland or wherever. I don't know. I just play music. But, Daniel, I like your point of view on things. I love a good mystery. And this island seems to be one of the biggest in my life. Ever since I got here, everyone's telling me I need to leave. My skin is fine, and the professor was covered in these sores, and I have somehow escaped these skin conditions, but nevertheless, I would like to get to the bottom of it. Also, I would like to know why my ship exploded in the middle of the night.
Your ship exploded, you say?
Yes, in the middle of a bloody fight, the ship seemed to have lurched and exploded. And the next thing I remember was waking up on the beach. And then the professor telling me that he got you, or it got you, and he never explained further.
His name is El Make, is what the natives call him. This thing rules over this island. Rule is a loose term, as he's rather a parasite to it, consuming, stealing, taking. But nonetheless, it is his dominion, and no one leaves, no one comes in. If they come in, I have a unfortunate feeling he wanted you here. Well, maybe he just wanted a few meals. Who knows?
There were many on my ship that have yet to be found.
Alas, I may know someone that can help, but his whereabouts are a mystery to me. Detective, are you aware of the old hospice? The one abandoned outside of town?
Recall it somewhat.
Yes. I do believe there is a library in there that may have a map. Maps are not in use around here, as most of the locals know their way around quite easily. But if we can get our hands on that map, just perhaps we may be able to find the whereabouts of someone that may be able to help us. His name is long forgotten. He's been here for longer than I can remember, but the locals just refer to him as the Hermit. He lives out somewhere by himself. He's not a native. He came here alone many, many years ago. But if anyone can help us, it may just be him. Alas, we will need a map, and the journey will be treacherous, to say the least.
Jed's gonna pull out of his bag a map that he'd been trying to terribly draw through everything he's been through, and he's gonna crumple it up and put it behind him on the floor and go, a map would be a great thing to find. Yes! That would be amazing. I say yes, let's go. Right now. I'm 100% behind this, let's do it.
I see no reason why not. I'll swig my whiskey and we'll be off.
Yeah, I finished my ale big time, while he's probably still talking.
Well, I guess if we're all in agreement, I suppose we can head that way.
Yes, and then we all start getting up. I'm going to stop, go to the barkeep, and be like, do you have any extra rations, per se?
The market side, they're supplying you with food. The must have just wanted a box, that is. I don't suppose you'd want one of those. I can supply you something.
I'll go with your former, what you said before. I'll go and check the markets. But thank you for the information. I'll be sure to write on kelp, and then I'll turn around and leave.
And what smooth skin you have.
And with that, you exit the tavern. As you guys exit the tavern, you start making your way through the town. Horses are trotting by you with carriages full of supplies. You see that there's a blacksmith, there's a grocer, there is a bank, a doctor, a few places like that.
It's good to meet you. I guess we're partners, and I'll reach my hand out to shake your hand.
May this partnership be fruitful in answers as I shake your hand.
And not get us killed. And as I'm shaking your hand.
But you reach the outskirts of the city and reach a more open field area with scattered houses throughout. The road has gone from cobblestone to a finer, more scattered amount of sand and stone. Right when you guys are headed out to what seems like just a straight up open field with no houses around, one of the houses right behind you, a woman pops her head out of the door.
Travelers, where are you going, may I ask?
Is she cool?
Well, frankly, my friend, I do not know this woman. She seems sincere. She genuinely just seems like a concerned citizen.
Where are you all going? I know it's getting late and we don't know each other, but... You're not going to the hospice, are you?
We are. How do you know this?
Please, come in. Let's talk about this inside. It's not good to speak out loud where others can hear.
Alright, I'll enter.
I'll enter. I'll nod my head and enter. And I'll look at Artie and be like, you coming?
Who am I to say no to a beautiful woman? He continues, and you all head inside. It's a very humble home, just really made of kind of log cabin style, but very, very humble. You can smell fresh bread baking in the oven. The woman is very pregnant. You now realize she's ready to pop. Very kind but tired face. You see over, not even in another room. It's a one room area. There's a small bed over in the corner, and on the bed there's a child sitting there. Little boy, maybe 8 years old, just flipping through a book. And he glances up at you, goes back to his book.
Please have a seat.
She closes the door behind it and looks around. And then she looks at Jed.
Your skin. You have no scars.
I'm not from here.
My dear lady, please. He's a good man. He's a good soul, and quite frankly, we wish to get him off this island. We're searching out some kind of information, a map perhaps, to help us to find the old hermit that lives out there somewhere, and his magic keeps us from finding him on our own. We have to go to the hospice to go to the library.
You can't go there. It's not safe. Please understand. I wish I could explain more, but it's too dangerous. If you need a map, please, I can supply some kind of directions. They may not be the best, but I'm very familiar with the island. I just can't go there. Please don't.
I thank you for your concern, but there's for lack of better words, a mystery on this island, and going to that place might be the best way to solve it. At least the first step.
I agree. Daniel, I agree. The mystery that seems to be is one of, and he'll reach out, and if she'll let him, he'll take her hands. And I'm 100% sure she's probably got a sore somewhere on her arms or her hands. A mystery that maybe, if solved, could help with this skin condition, this plague, this thing that is affecting all of them.
I may be smooth, but that does not mean I'm unaffected. My heart has already been changed, and my goals rearranged. As detrimental as it is to go towards this place, we must. For the sake of the mystery, for the sake of the intrigue, for the sake of solving it to save others. That is why we must go.
She stands from the table and goes over to a nearby bookshelf.
My grandmother, she was here when all this began. This lad is cursed. This skin condition, darling, small themes.
According to her grandmother's diary, which is what she actually pulled down, she goes into detail and explains that many years ago, the creature, Eomake, that is now claiming dominion over the island, the same day that he appeared, seemingly out of nowhere. He just appeared in the mountain. She tells the party, she tells you all that the same day that he appeared, the large clock tower in the middle of the town, it just stopped. In fact, time across the entire island stopped. And not only did the clocks stop, but aging as well stopped completely. She pulls out her arm again and shows you the scars, and amongst the four of you, she makes an example of the other two in the party and explains that these are not they're not sores, it's not a plague, it's not a disease, they are injuries, because when the time stopped, so did the healing. There is no healing.
I did not know it has anything to do with this man that you speak of, but I did figure it out that wounds simply do not close up, for time itself has stopped for some reason.
Which is why, my dear friend, that you of all people need to be very careful, as well as your tiefling friend back in the bar. You stick out rather well, I should know. And he shows he has a large slash across his chest, which is also blackened. And he explains further that the modern sense of medicine in this world is when you get a cut that draws blood, the smallest amount of blood, if you cannot heal from it, you will bleed out and die over time. So every cut, scrape, gash, stab, everything has to be burned shut, resulting in these charred black marks all over their bodies.
The two of you are unique. You're special. You do not come from this land, and although the spell is taking its course, you have time within you still. But it is running out. That's why you must get off this island. I see that now. But if you're here for too long, your fate will be the same as ours.
And she looks over. Her child has come over and
Mother, is the bread ready?
Yes, darling, please go get out of the oven while I'm talking to our guests.
I told you, please don't call me darling. It's degrading.
Kid walks over and gets the bread out of the oven. And that's when she looks at you and she says,
My boy over there. He's 100 years old.
The boy brings the freshly baked bread to the table, and the woman begins to slice the bread and share it amongst you. And at this time, after hearing this, your eyes are immediately drawn back to her very pregnant stomach.
Yeah.
And the tiredness in her eyes is overwhelming now. You can see she has been carrying this child for so long. She serves you the bread, however, and acts as normal as she did when you first arrived.
I see now that you must leave this island, and you must speak to the hermit. Lord, I hope he can help you. But there's something you must know about the hospice. Many years ago, when the curse was new, and many of the townsfolk were learning how to cope with it, please understand we were scared. We didn't know what to do, and many of us didn't know how to care for our children. We were struggling, and we thought they would be better off without us, and that maybe they would just pass. So we left them there. But I still hear cries from the hospice. That's why no one goes over there. They very well may be alive in there still, and if they are, I dare not think of what horrors lie beyond those doors. So please, by all means, if you're going to go there, do so carefully, tread lightly, and beware of the children. They will be hungry. Please, stay safe, all of you, and Godspeed. If you can break this curse, I hope you do so quickly. Time is running out.
Holy!
No, I knew no one.
Dude, dropping a bomb. All right, that's one thing. All right, to drop a bomb, but to drop a nuke, that is totally different.
No, listen, I knew no one aged. I didn't know it was this horrific. Like,
well, you have to think though. If no one ages, nothing happens. Nothing goes forward. That is a crazy take on things that you don't think about.
My character figured out that no one seemed to be aging, but I didn't. I doubt he would have realized that it's been 100 years.
Oh man! All right, yeah, we trek onward.
I may not be able to leave this island at all with this curse in here.
Nonsense. Listen, and Artie, Daniel, all of these people, we will find a way. Hope is not something you have much of, but let us have a small bit to move forward. Even if I get cursed and I live my life as you, I would rather live my life than to lay down and die or run away weeping like a child.
No, I'm saying that our original goal was to get off the island to make sure, something didn't happen to us. But now that we know what, and I have a theory who started this, I feel like justice must be served.
By this time, it is a little past sunset. The sun has gone down past the mountain, and the stars are starting to come out. Well, my friends, I can honestly say I didn't know it was this bad. I didn't know. But alas, I started this journey with you and determined to end it with you as well. And if you so wish, there it is. In the distance, through the long blades of grass and other plants, a large building made of wood and peeled paint is in the distance, very decrepit, falling apart almost. Windows. There are at least a couple of stories to this place, and all along the way you see the remains of abandoned wagons and carriages that were left there a long time ago. Inside the windows of the hospice, this blackness, pitch blackness. The large double doors in the front are boarded shut, covered in vines and ivy that are growing up it after years of abandonment. But it is there. Artie pulls out his sword and looks at you. I'm not one for children, but this feels even extreme for me.
Don't feel alone. Don't feel alone. But I must, same thing, I know you were probably about to ask it, but can we agree that if we are attacked, to attack?
I can agree to that.
Daniel.
If all out fails, I will make sure I do not die here. And neither will you two.
Understood.
What better way to write a magnificent, triumphant song, my friend, than a terrifying journey ahead of us?
And then he'll kind of chuckle because you kind of have to make light of these situations and be like, they're hungry? They're hungry? Oh, so I'm going to draw my sword as we walk in as well. I'm ready, dude. Oh my god. I can go ahead and tell you, Daniel. I'll go ahead and tell you a little bit of my backstory. Just saying that as we walked through this place, I kind of talked a little bit more about my life story. But I'm like a spoiled rich kid that is trying to go out and adventure and find out who he's going to be and like what he's going to be.
You're going through a midlife crisis. Got it.
Well, no, I'm only. He's only like 19 years old. Yeah, I'm only 19 years old. Yeah. So I'm an adult by these. I'm an adult by these standards, right? Like technically, an adult because you're an adult at like 15. But I'm very young and I'm still trying to push my way through. I'm very charismatic, sure, but I still have a lot to learn. 100%. But that's who I am. I came from like a spoiled home, and I try to figure things out by myself because my parents always like pushed me to be this like this high up, really smart person. So I'm smart, but I'm not like, I don't care. I cared more about music and doing my own thing. So I jumped on a ship and came to the new world, and this is what's happened to me so far. So, and I tell you all this right before we get murdered.
We can assume that you were telling him your tale as you approach.
As we walk.
As you approach the large, dilapidated wooden doors of the hospice, ivy growing up it, and it's clearly been boarded shut and has rusted nails driven into it. If you've ever seen the very beginning of The Walking Dead, how that door was all boarded up and had like the word dead inside. It doesn't have that on it, but it is not for keeping people out. Artie attempts to pull one of the boards off and stumbles back. All right, well, that didn't go quite as planned. Can anyone see a window? Something else to climb through? Do either of you want to try the bullets? We gotta get out of there somehow.
All three of us should be able to pull this off.
The three of us grab onto the boards, and we do a 3, 2, 1. We fall back. The door violently rattles on its hinges, and the boards are still there. Actually,
we grabbed the wrong board. The one board that was nailed into the perfect pieces of wood.
Exactly.
So I guess we made a lot of noise with that also. We'll take a quick glance around. Are there any windows?
Yes, there are. There is actually a nearby window. It's a little higher up. Mm-hmm. Not like a second story, just like a higher up window, still on the first floor. The glass has moss and like algae growing on it. It's very opaque. You can't really see through it that well. But yeah, there's a window there.
Would I be able to reach it?
How tall is your character? Do you know?
Yeah, it's actually pretty big for a tiefling, like pretty heavy set.
Hey, we don't tiefling shame here, okay? You are beautiful, exactly the way you are.
Okay, go. I'm sorry.
Tiefling positivity. We love that.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I'll say about 6'2", yeah.
Okay, yeah.
6'2"? Just God bless America, I'm 5'9".
The whole time I was thinking he was like the same height as us, maybe shorter, and I'm like, oh, no,
I'm a big tiefling.
Okay,
That's
okay.
awesome.
Oh yeah. The base of the window is for you about lower chest.
Oh, okay. Are we attempting to do any stealthy like, or are we just barging in, taking map, barging out?
I personally, I guess showmanship has always been my move, personally, although in this case I can't say it will be a rewarded experience by an applause or gold. Can't say for sure how to go about this one. This is my first time.
Detective, you've done this before. Should we go by stealth or should we be loud?
My apologies for interrupting, but you have rope, do you not?
I did buy rope.
I was going to say it's simply an idea, but perhaps use the rope. The three of us actually take some time to examine the perimeter of the building a little bit.
Yeah.
And as you come around one of the sides, you actually see that there is a window that was around the side that it is cracked open, heavily rusted, stuck, but significantly easier to open than the door.
I will attempt to open this.
The rust does give way, and you guys do actually get the window open.
Guys, I got a nat 1, just so you know.
Yes, that was my advantage. And not
This building is the biggest challenge of this game.
The doors.
Already
I
got
don't know
a
if you guys seen Critical Role, but doors are their main enemy. Okay, I will be the first to go in, trying to be stealthy.
So you get in, and you're immediately met by a very musky odor, thick air, and a crunch under your feet.
All right, I'm going to get in, and I already rolled my stealth check. I got a 19. I'm going to help Artie in as well, since he said he was new to it all.
As Artie climbs in, the back of his violin catches just a small bit of the window, and kind of echoes through the building. Nothing crazy, but a noise.
So,
I just want to survey the room, make sure everything's good, and maybe get a bearing on which way we need to go.
Do you want to use anything for a light source at this moment?
I'll have to. I'll do a candle.
As the light fills the room, the walls, the floor, the ceiling are blackened with years of mold and decay and moss and even spider webs that have long since been abandoned. Under your feet are what look to be the hardened, decayed pile of children's clothing, belts, shoes, molded and just stinking up the entire room. It is literally just a small room. There is a door in front of you that is just cracked open.
Do you know where we need to go, or in which way we need to head to get to this library? Do you have any idea?
I believe I think that this was perhaps a servant's quarters, a lavatory maybe. If we are where I think I am, I believe the library is on the other side of the building. Towards the left, there should be some passageways. Haven't even thought about this place in such a long time, to be quite honest.
Gotcha. So is it a safe bet to stick to maybe the left wall? Because we came in from the side, right? So we're trying to get across. If we stick to the left wall, it'll take us east or to the left. So west, to the west side of the building, correct? So we're on this side of the building. We need to get to the other side. If we stick to the left wall and go, even if it's dark or whatever, we can get to the side we need to be to.
that would make sense, yes.
Theoretically, it is sound. It's not going to be a straight line, so we will need to tread carefully.
Stick to the left wall, and I think we should tread on. Daniel, would you like to lead?
Yes.
Artie goes ahead, and he just peeks through the door and just creaks the door open, and it is nearly pitch black in there. There is some remaining, now moonlight, just sending some blue beams through the holes in the walls and the ceiling, though. As Artie opens the door in front of you, you having dark vision, you see better than most as you're in front, and in front of you is what looks like a large room. The door you're coming out of is nearly on the far right end of it, and on the wall to your right is another door which opens just to complete blackness. The room in front of you, however, is the hospice itself, lined with multiple beds that the fabric has rotted through completely, cobwebs everywhere, and the floor is just piled with indescribable shapes of masses of just black, decaying matter. The entire left end of the building is nearly lost in complete blackness to you, but you do see the line of beds going towards a door far in the corner near a staircase.
Alright. And go towards the door.
As everyone is lined up, pretty much single file, sword in hand, and Jed, you're there with your candlelight. You're walking, and under Daniel's foot, there's a crack and almost a squelch sound. And you look down, and there is the shape, the approximate shape of what looks like a black, charred mask almost, that you've stepped on and broken it. It looks like it was almost like a Halloween mask or something like that, but it's just pure black and just crumbles under your foot. In response to that sound, however, there is one of the dark parts of the wall over there. And Daniel, you seem to see a movement along the floor, but it's not clear what it was. It does disappear into the darkness, though. If anyone's thinking about rushing it, I recommend that we do so quietly and very quickly, because whatever that was supposed to settle.
We'll pick up the pace, but still try our best to be cautious of what's around us.
Okay. Everyone starts picking up the pace a little bit, and more there's just crunching under our feet. At that time, however, Artie, something jumps on his back and wraps his arms around his shoulders and pulls him back onto the ground. He falls down, not taking any damage, but he leaps to his feet quickly. What the hell is that? And something starts approaching out of the darkness. The shape of a child, very small. But as it comes into the moonlight, you see the moon cascading on the side of its body. You see that it has no ordinary skin. It is emaciated and completely black and charred all around its body. Where its eyes were, they are sunken in so far, and there's just the smallest reflection of black inside its sockets. It opens its mouth. You're hoping to speak. But in response, it just... At that time, you hear more scrapes throughout the walls of the hospice, and they're getting louder and closer. You hear more of that whining, moaning sound getting closer, some even seemingly from under the floors, just more. You are surrounded. You see the reflection of black eyes all around you, some crawling, some on the walls themselves, crawling like goblins in a cave on the sides, some coming down from holes in the ceiling.
In case something like this would happen, I was actually keeping all of my rations on hand, because and as soon as I see us surrounding this, if I may attempt to try something, I will slowly take a bite of all these rations like trying to show them that it's food, and just throw it away from where we're going.
And it looks up at you, and once again, just the reflections of its eyes are all you can see. And you hear another one. The one holding the portion that you gave it drops it to the floor and looks right at you.
Oh, that's right.
It runs at you.
See me draw my great sword from my back.
Great sword!
It jumps.
Well, I attempted peacefully. As it jumps, I'll attempt to stab it using its own momentum.
It jumps and your blade just swipes the side of it, but it doesn't make contact. It rolls onto the ground and scutters into a hole in the ground. You see its feet disappear into the darkness. Jed, you look up and you see one crawling down the wall towards you, and it is approaching and opens its mouth wide, revealing black, sharpened, decaying teeth. It releases the wall and drops onto you.
As it comes down, I'm going to try to stab it in the head with a twisting motion upwards.
As your sword makes contact with its head, just like the thing that you stepped on earlier, the face of this thing just crumbles and falls apart, leaving the remains of what looks like a skull, and blood starts oozing out, and it falls to the floor, and it backs up under one of the beds and starts backing into the darkness.
So I'm going to move next to Artie to back him up, and I want to be in a defensive position. Daniel, have our back. Say that to Daniel, and then I would cast prestidigitation. A very small ball of light, and it would just light up the room to where we can see.
The light illuminates pretty much the entire room. It's a large room, but it's not a deep one, and there's not a lot of coverage except for the beds and holes in the wall and the junk on the floor. Now that it's illuminated, you see everything on the floor. They are the decayed bodies of these blackened children that have been rotting and decaying over the years. To Artie and Jed's right, sort of in front of them, there are about 6 of those children. Besides Daniel, you got about 5 over closer to you, three of which are emerging from the dark, now illuminated by the light. Artie at this time is going to take out his sword and fail miserably at it. Swinging his sword, missing, and the creature scurries past him and starts approaching Jed. One is crawling down the wall, one is actually picking up a piece of wood off of the floor that's been sharpened to a point. It looks like it's been used multiple times, possibly on the other children.
I'm going to use my first action to cast Bless on all 3 of us, because I can target 3 targets. Every time you do an attack or a saving throw, add it, just roll a d4 and add that to your roll.
Thank you. Are you a cleric?
I am a paladin.
I knew that.
As that happens, one of the 3 in front of you starts charging you.
One of the ones that tried to attack me, I'll just swipe at it with my sword.
And you just 2 of them out. The remaining 2 in front of you and the one on your left, they definitely back up and they go into some holes in the floor and regroup. Next to Artie and Jed, there are 6 that you can see.
Alright, then I'll move closer to them.
Jed, between you and Artie, you have 6 collectively in front of you. They're like getting close.
I would grab Artie and put him behind me. Trust me, and I would throw him.
I don't know what you're doing, but okay.
I'm gonna pull him behind, and I'm gonna point a finger out. I'm not sorry about this one. And I'm gonna cast Thunder Wave. And as I point at them, this electric blue light comes from my hands as a ball and flies forward and explodes.
As this blue beam of sonic energy just bursts out in front, 5 of the 6 are caught up in the beam, and you see their bodies, a black silhouette within the blue beam, just incinerate into crumbs and fly back. And they are gone. One was just at the side of the beam and took a blast of it just to the side of its body, and it collapses to the floor. One arm, one leg, half a face.
Hell yeah.
You could have done that for the door. He runs up and begins to attack another one with the help of a blessing guiding his sword. He slashes one straight through the chest, and it falls back. His partner running into the darkness behind it. Two of the remaining, one who is just a half of a creature, they begin crawling back and retreating into the dark around them. This is when you hear throughout the entire hospice, upstairs, down in the floor, more and more. You watch as hands start reaching up through the boards in the ground and lifting it. More heads, more children climbing out like zombies out of the grave. In the walls, holes in the walls, creatures are coming out, pouring into the room. Doors are opening. You are outnumbered significantly. The room is filled with these children, and they are coming quickly at you. There is standing room only in this area as this army of creatures emerge from the darkness and start coming towards all of you, hissing, growling, and the scraping of their skins just echoing like a field of cicadas just chirping.
Fighting's probably not going to work, so I'm going to try scaring these guys off by casting do not know how to pronounce the spell. Thugmentary. Anyway, it's a cantrip that allows me to do cool things. I'm trying to scare these children away.
Trying to scare these children away. I like that.
So as your voice thunders out and you say this, the entire lighting in the room changes as your voice thunders out, and they shudder and they start backing away, terrified. And it definitely works. They are starting to flee. They're starting to run away. At this time, however, the door that you previously tried entering bursts open. A cloud of dust and smoke. Everyone, all of us, all the children turn and are motionless. From the fog and the dark night behind, a sphere of light shoots through the entire building and starts just popping these creatures, killing them one by one so fast. It's like Thor's hammer just flying around, slaughtering them. As these creatures are exploding, they're running for their lives. They're trying to crawl into these holes, and they're just not getting away in time. This flying thing is zooming through, and in a instant, in the blink of an eye, the same thing that's flying around killing these things just whips by all three of our feet, and suddenly everything is upside down, and we're all hanging upside down, bound by some kind of a wire or a rope, and we're hanging there, and we're super dazed, as you can imagine. The creatures fleeing, and then in a matter of moments, the whole building has gone silent. The creatures, you can hear them, they're outside, they're fleeing out into the wilderness. The very few that survived, the rest of them lay in piles of crumbles and ash and bone and gore on the floor. From the smoke, you see the orb, whatever it was, go and fly back to its source through the door. And as the dust clears and calms down, a small cloaked figure walks into the room, its head covered, it's kind of hunched over. And you can see what looks like scaled hands from inside the cloak, but that's really all you can make out. And you hear a old voice.
Well, this is hardly what I expected. Brave as you were, always nice to have help from good people. Yes, yes. Are any of you injured?
I don't believe so, kind stranger. Perhaps could you give us a hand with this fire, though?
Yes, upside down. Blood head, not good.
And he walks up closest to Artie.
I see you were sent as well. Thank you. Quite a predicament we found ourselves in. Gentlemen, allow me to cut you down.
And the orb in his hand flies up, and the lines are cut, and everyone falls to the ground, and they're free.
Real quick, I'm so sorry. This orb that he has, is it any similar to the orb I have in my possession?
Oh yeah, you received an orb for the scientist, right?
It is identical.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right, I don't say anything about it, but...
Yeah.
Better. Well, the hour is late, and I'm hungry. Would you all care to join me for dinner? Be my guests.
Yeah, I'm not my head.
I agree, yes, of course. And I'll be like brushing myself off of all the children decay.
As you're all clearing yourself off and everything, the cloaked figure turns and starts to hobble away, seemingly leading the way for you guys to follow. And he stops.
Splendid. But I find it strange. A group of young, brave warriors would not ask the name of their rescuer.
Are you the hermit?
Yes. I am known by that name. But when you've lived as long as I have, you go by many names. Friends in the past, as well as you now, may refer to me by my true name. Squibbish, at your service. Now, follow me. We have food to eat and much to discuss.
In the heart of the stormy sea lies an island of misery, cursed by darkness, lost in time. Only the heroes can break the rhyme. Four must unite to restore the light. Through the trials they will fight to bring back the day from endless night.
Well, thank you so much for listening to the first episode, the first session of the Livendrell Chronicles, Aomake's Isle. If you enjoyed this, please consider following our TikTok channel, and feel free to reach out to me, let me know what you thought. For all my supporters on TikTok so far, thank you for joining us on this journey, for the likes, for the follows, and for the comments especially. There is so much more to come, more mysteries to unpack, and more to learn about our heroes and villains right around the corner. But for now, that is all. Thanks for listening.